Oh. Interviewing yourself, are you? Wow. All right. Do something a little bit different. So this year, I'm going to start an interview series. Now, it's going to be based on people in an industry roughly 20 years and more, and I'm calling it student to master. So the intention of this is to kind of give kids that are 15 to 18, 19 years old, somewhere around the high school age, some idea of like a mentor. If you had a mentor and they said, you know, here's some options you have, here's some history I've done, here's some things I've done, here's my recommendations. I want to give kids that option. I get asked a lot, and based on engineering for myself, but I get asked questions like, how do I get into this industry? What can I do to this? What can I do for that? And I thought, you know, this is a great way. This is a subject that, you know, people often complain that kids have no direction, and I've heard a lot of that, and I want to give you guys that option. So today, I'm going to do a mock interview. I'm going to interview myself. And really, it's for me to be able to edit back and forth between two different people. Plus, it's also to get the story out for an auto engineer, which is what my background is. So, you may think, this is kind of weird. Hey guys, welcome to my shop. So let me kind of walk you around and show you kind of my home office and my home away from home, I guess you could say. But it is my home, so it's kind of weird. So if you kind of look behind me, you can see these are my storage cabinets. I've got paint and parts and everything else. Got an elliptical right here that I swear I was going to use that I haven't touched yet. But when I feel like I need some exercise, bam, just go to the shop. Done. So you see I've kind of got some storage. You can see behind me parts, my drill press right here that I put in. I've got some of my historical posters and my big Fight Club fan. So you can see those are some road race leathers I've got up there. Those are from the early 2000s when I road raced motorcycles. You can see up over there some of the collection of posters I've got throughout the motorcycle stuff I did. Those are all the mini bikes I've got. I've collected, I don't know, 1,000 of them maybe. There's a lot. There's a lot in the shop. You can see behind me right there is my 80 coupe I'm currently working through. I turn around here. My commuter car, my 2011 Versa, which gets stored for the winter, and it's currently holding up my headliner for my coupe. I haven't got to that yet. You can see there some more posters. These are kind of more of my historical ones. You can see the GTR one, some of the other ones I've got from working in the auto industry at different plants I've been to. Then you've got up there a lot of certificates and plaques and everything I've got. So if you kind of look behind me here, these are some pictures here. These are me when I was road racing motorcycles, and you can see some of the plaques and everything I've been involved with. And then some concepts of stuff I put on Instagram, but these are some sketches, I would say, traces, sketches, kind of whatever you want to call it. And then I've got most of my magazines right there, and some more car parts, of course, and at the end, all the trophies I've got from when I was a kid all the way up to road racing bikes. And then, the rest of my crap. So these are all more mini cars and all that stuff. You can see here's a briefcase that my grandfather actually used. This is he was a mechanical engineer, so my grandmother was cleaning out a bunch of stuff, and she got a bunch of stuff out of there. So let me show you kind of what's in there, and you'll be kind of shocked, maybe. So now you can kind of see in here, this is my grandfather's briefcase. So it's got a pair of scissors in there, a ruler for drawing or anything else. He's got something to do lettering with. You can trace lettering. Another ruler itself. You've got actually two of them in there. A little holder, some bottle bright, which I think this was a joke from my grandmother. She's always trying to get me stuff. And you've got another lettering thing, I think the same one. You've got a triangle to draw with. You've got stuff on flow for HVAC in that, because he was more of a piping engineer. And another piece to draw with. A couple rulers itself. So he spent some of his time over in Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. So you can see this is in the back here. This is Saudi Arabia Armed Forces calendar. Can't even make out what year this is. Let's see. 87 to 88. So there you go. He was in the 80s in the Middle East, and 10 and everything else. So that's kind of my historical piece for my family. Okay, so there's kind of my home office / shop. This is where I work most of the time during the winter. I kind of work inside once in a while. It's easier to get coffee that way. Of course, I drink coffee all year round, so that's not even an excuse. This is my home office, garage, man cave, you name it, I've got it here. So let's get to the interview. Well, Canaan, thanks for inviting me out to your shop. You know, it's pretty interesting. You've got kind of a lot of things going on here. It looks like you're in the middle of a big project on your car here, and it's a nice shop. You kind of got a lot of history in here. Yeah, well, thanks for joining me. You know, it's nice to have somebody out, and I think this is a great interview series you're doing, and you know, I'm glad to be a part of it. Kind of give you my feedback and get you involved and see what you can do with this interview series. So let's start with some history on you. Kind of tell us about yourself. I guess thinking back to when you were a teenager up till now. I mean, what have you been involved with? So for me personally, I guess going back, I guess I was born in Iowa. I grew up through my formative years in Colorado, all the way up through, I guess, my sophomore year in college. I took a year off, moved to Dallas, kind of lost interest in college a little bit. Spent down there a year working, just doing car stuff, really, car installs and different things. And after that, kind of realized, man, college really is kind of something I need. So I went back to Colorado, finished up my degree. I moved to Nashville after that and kind of stayed in Middle Tennessee for about 6 years. Moved down to Mississippi for 10 to work for Nissan as an auto engineer and then a manager. And at that point, moved out to Oregon. And for the last almost 2 years, I've been a technical recruiter supporting the Nissan plant I actually worked for previously. So you said you went back to school for a degree. What is it in? Yeah, that's correct. I do have a degree. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Okay, so thinking back to when you were, let's say, 15 to 18 years old, kind of our target focus area for age on kids. What did you want to be when you grew up? You know, really, I guess even back to teens and, I don't know, I guess I was always pretty decent at math, decent at science. I had friends, or a friend that had a dad that had a toolbox that I think really had every tool I could ever want out of it. And it all just kind of formulated into being a mechanical engineer. I always kind of liked cars, even from my early teen years. And I think just engineering, that I was pretty good at math and science. And I liked cars, so it just kind of all fit to go to be a mechanical engineer. So thinking back at our target focus for 15, 18, kind of looking back on your history, what would you do differently? I mean, would you change your major? Would you do something different? Would you go to a different industry? You know, I don't know that I would change necessarily anything drastic. Thinking back to when I was 15, 16, 17, I guess math and science came to me pretty easily. I would think out of high school, when I went into college, I had to take a lot of prerequisites over, or to kind of try and test out of them. I thought I would just walk through it easy in college. So I probably would have studied a little bit more in high school, even though it came naturally to me. I really should have pushed myself a little harder. And then through college, you know, I guess there was a point where I kind of lost interest in it and that going back, I had that fire when I went back to school. course, yeah, you'd say I shouldn't have lost the interest and all that stuff, but it's kind of pushed me to where I needed to go beyond that. So I think the only thing out of college that I would have changed was taking a foreign language. I took a lot of Spanish in high school, and that was very helpful. And then in college, I didn't take any language. So I actually had a classmate that took, I think, 5 years of Japanese. And gosh, I remember being a senior and thinking, what a waste. Why would you take Japanese as a language? It doesn't even make sense. And then if you look at my career, well, I worked for Nissan and Nissan suppliers for almost 15 years. What a benefit that language would have been if I would have taken that class. So I would think, think about where you want to be. If you want to work for a Japanese automotive company, a German, Korean, whatever else, if that's your long-term goal, I would take some foreign language either in high school or college if you can get to it, to help support that. It's only going to be a benefit. Okay, so thinking back, you wouldn't change anything major and you take a foreign language in that. What would you recommend to the kids now that are in that our target range, 15 to 18, that really don't know where they're going to go in college or if they're going to go to college, etc.? I mean, do you think they should go to college? Do you think they should just go to get a degree to say they have one? Or, what recommendations do you have for them? That's always a tough one. I do see a definite benefit to education, and I'll stand by that 100%. If you want to be in the auto industry as an engineer, I really think you've got to get a 4-year degree in a degree that fits with where you want to be. Mechanical, electrical, sometimes industrial technology or industrial engineering, those fit pretty well. Chemical, it's going to be a mix. They're a little bit more towards research and design, to be like a factory engineer in that. Chemical's a hard one to mix, but it's really going to depend on the person too. So I think it's really up to the student itself. If you want to be in engineering, I think you've got to have a 4-year degree. If you want to be something else, the education is the key. It's going to get you at least get your foot in the door where others won't. Beyond that, I think it's really up to the person itself to what they want to do. But education will never hurt you. It'll always benefit you. So I really think you've got to look forward to kind of where you want to be. And if you don't know where you want to be in 20 years, step it back to 10, step it back to 5. Where do you want to be in a year? Start thinking about those kind of goals and putting together something. There's a lot of resources out there. You can do a lot of reading. Be careful of what you read sometimes, but there's a lot of reading out there. So do what you want to do, but education is really a key focus that I think everybody needs to be concerned with. Okay, so that's kind of the piece of it. What additional advice would you have that we haven't covered already? Yeah, I think the last thing I want to tell people, and what I've already mentioned, is that if you're going to go be a STEM engineer, which is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, as you go through it, and if you go to college, obviously you're going to do this, but I want you guys to focus on getting, really focus on a co-op or an internship. It provides valuable experience that you probably don't even understand you get. You need to be able to work in teams. You need to have some presentation skills. And nobody likes public speaking. That's just it. But the people that really get good at it, they excel at it, they practice. So having those butterflies of being nervous about being a public speaker, it all comes part of it. I don't think anybody just says, yeah, I want to go give a speech to a group of people. But you've got to be good at it. So, take a co-op or internship along the way. Do as many as you can. Study hard. This is the precursor to the rest of your life. If you're going to slack on it now, you're going to slack on it later. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Team up with people that complement you, I would say. If you're not good at math, find a roommate or find a buddy that is good at math, and then do the opposite for somebody else. If you're great at fluid computational dynamics and all that, Find somebody that isn't if you're in that class. Help each other out. It's only going to get better. It's a teamwork. It's a partnership all the way through. And the last, I want you guys to always remember, you've got to stop once in a while and literally smell the roses. Stop and smell the flowers. You've got to remember where you came from to know where you're going. You've got to look back and say, I was there. I'm going to appreciate the effort and the work to get there. And that's all I have. I hope this has been beneficial for you. If you have any questions, you can drop them down below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Okay, guys, so that was the mock interview. That's really my answers to that, and I'm actually going to be speaking at a local high school, which is kind of the reason I spawned this, I guess, mock interview in this series. I get asked a lot of questions of, what can I do? You know, what do you think? What's your opinion? Especially when I go to recruiting events or anything else. I get asked a lot of questions, and I think this is valuable information that people probably don't realize is out there, nor do they know the questions to ask. So if you have questions, you know, after you watch this, drop them down. Drop them in the comments down. If you have a question, you can hit me with a private message. You can always find me on Instagram on Basic Motorsports, and yeah, I'm always posting my car stuff and everything else. But I think this is the year. This is the year we're going to make a difference. So this is my start of making a difference, and that's all I have for this time. But I've got plenty planned for this series. If you have anybody that you want to be interviewed, or if you want to be interviewed, you think you've been in the industry for 20-something years and you have something to say, you want to give advice, contact me. We'll get together somehow. Until next time, we'll see you later.